We are now on the 6th of March, 2030, and we've been through a January transfer window where we have spent £1.3 million. We've got a returning player coming back to the club as well, a player from a few seasons ago, and we're also playing Partizan twice in today's episode. It's not Groundhog Day. We did play them last episode as well. They managed to get through their Europa Conference League qualifying round on next knockout phase match, and we drew them. So I was hoping for somebody a little bit more exciting, but here we are, Partizan, a team that beats us 3-0. Not a huge amount of transfers leaving the club to talk about. The big one is Akin Olisema has left, signing for Viborg, £210,000. Not a lot of money, but he was out of contract at the end of the season. Actually, I think in December he was out of contract because for some reason in Denmark you can offer contracts to the end of the season or the end of December. So yeah, he had 12 months on his contract. We sold him because we weren't playing him, and it's fine. We've brought in another centre-back. We've also got rid of Emil Højlund as well because he just wasn't playing for us. He's gone on a free transfer to Vela, who I think is in the second tier. They're in the second tier, yes. 6 players joining the club from various countries all around the world, and you'll be confused by some of them. It is Moritz Reisinger is the first one, a 20-year-old German signed from BFC Dynamo. I don't know how I found this man. I think he was deadline day and it was one of the agent offers and he was for free. So I looked at him and went, he looks pretty good actually. Nice mental attributes. We brought him in, immediately loaned him out to Lyngby. Another player on a very similar deal is Chardonai Chareno Paint. Paint? It's not Paint, it's Panet. I'm not going to say his name, and I apologise to anybody from Thailand now. I'm not going to be able to do it, so I'm going to just change his name at some point. But right now, he's probably going to be sat on the bench, maybe coming off, maybe going out on loan if I can. It wouldn't be a January transfer window if I didn't sign a right-back, would it? Kenneth Falster is a Danish right-back, currently out on loan to Viborg as well. We brought him in. He was previously at Copenhagen, got released. I looked at him and went, actually, he's pretty good. He's 22, so he's on the high end of a young player, in my opinion. But if he gets a few games playing for Viborg towards the end of the season, maybe next year he could be challenging for a first-team spot. Somebody who I'm weirdly excited about is Cesar Lugo. And he is a Venezuelan who came up on, I think, towards deadline day. It was an agent offer. And I looked at him and went, I don't know what it is. There's something about him. I think it was the aggression and the flair. I just like an angry, aggressive, but flair-filled footballer, central midfielder. And I brought him in because we do need another central midfielder because of the injuries, obviously, to Colorado. Lugo might be playing a lot of football between now and the end of the season. Next up, we've got ourselves an Andorran signed from Terrassa in, I think, Spain. I think he's come from Spain. He's gone back on loan there. Yeah, so from a very low tier in Spain. Once again, a deadline day signing and then immediately loaned back to Terrassa. He was just offered £110,000. We've actually paid money for this guy, this kid, this lad, whatever. He's 20. He's a kid. And the 6th and final player, if you haven't worked out yet, it's cost £1.3 million, or £1.2 million, is Darlan. We formerly had him on loan in the 25-26 season from Pacos de Ferreira, probably not how it's pronounced, a 2-footed centre-back who can also kind of play in central midfield. Don't want him for that, but what I do want him for is his 15 jumping reach, his 16 heading, and the fact that he is also 6'5". Darlan might be scoring some goals for us now that we've hopefully fixed our corners. I've just jumped over to Lyngby, by the way, because they loaned 3 of our players during January. They loaned Mamadou Gay, Oliver Sorensen, and Moritz Reisinger. So, hopefully, they're getting some game time. I mean, it's still early days, but hopefully they are. So, Reisinger's played twice, that's good. Gay has played once and one off the bench. Where's the other fella? He's not there. Is he in? You've not put him in your reserves, have you? We sold him to Lyngby. We didn't loan him, we sold him. He went on a free transfer. Anyway, before we play Partizan twice in today's episode, and maybe Copenhagen, let's see how things go. We've played, obviously, 2 more league games. We've drawn 3-3 with Nordsjælland. We've beaten AAB 3-0. We are still undefeated in the Superliga. Still undefeated, 19 games played. We've qualified for the championship group phase, but we are still only 1 point clear of Copenhagen. Even though they've lost 3 matches, we've drawn 5 and they've only drawn 1. So, for the away leg against Partizan, we're going as strong as we possibly can manage. It is going to be Hindrich in goal, Mossen, Darlan, Lund Jensen and Pelamati in defence, Orlando Carniero and Hjulman in midfield. Carniero, I'm going to play as that Mazzala, because what we've seen in the last few episodes is Colorado has been getting very, very far forward, and we know that Carniero he's good getting far forward. He's an attacking midfielder. That is his position. So maybe that role there as a Mazzala could be where we need to play him. Pete and Gelabert on the wings. Barisic leading the lines, obviously, because we got rid of Matteo Maya in the last episode to Qatar. We've now got to play Pete and Gelabert, which is fine. They're both good enough. So Partizan obviously beat us 3-0 the last time we played them. I think it was about 2-3 months ago, maybe in game, 4 months ago in game. But for me, it was like 2 days ago. It was very, very recent for me. I'm hoping that was just a blip because we didn't have anything to fight for, and they did. I'm hoping that's why they managed to win that game quite comfortably. Although I say comfortably, it wasn't particularly comfortably, was it? Darlan with a head clear. Mossen flicks it forward. 16 minutes. Stevanovic loses out to Pete. And now he can run forward, finds Barisic. Left-hand side is, Gelabert. It's through to Barisic instead from Pete. He's 1-on-1 with the keeper. He's dinked it over him and the bar. Magical. Promising first highlight going our way, although Partizan have had 3 shots through on target. Hindrich seems to be saving them, though. Orlando's ball towards Pete. It's a great television save from Popovic. So what's going to happen? Popovic is going to kick it long over the halfway line. Lund Jensen to Hjulmand. Orlando to Carniero. Barisic goes for a long-range effort. This time skims the top of the netting. It's over the bar once again, but we're getting close. I think I might need to stop. Barisic's taking so many long shots. Corner comes in. Lund Jensen is there. Probably should be Darlan, but we will take it. It's a great camera angle for this. So no one went short. I've been telling people to go short. Nobody went short. It's fine. We scored the goal from it. But nobody went short, and they should have. One of these days, I'm going to find out whether away goals are a thing. I think they're still a thing, right? They must be still a thing. Because if they are, we're in a good position. Mossen with the ball finds Pete. Now Darlan, big kick upfield. The Brazilian and, I think, Portuguese defender. Darlan once again flicks ahead on. Hjulmand's going to go for a run. Gelabert on the left-hand side. Pelomati's behind him, not going to really join this attack. Gelabert keeps going. Now Pelomati gets it. Hjulmand tries to get some space, gets around 2 players, tries to curl it in the top corner, hits it wide and over the bar. It's going to be 1-0 to Esbjerg at half-time. We're looking good. We are looking good, but we were looking good last time we played Partizan. They were just looking better. I am just going to check my corners. So from the right-hand side, my left winger should be coming short for Pete to take it. That's fine. That's why we've got nobody going short, because Gelabert's the man taking it. What's happened there? No, I want you, and I want you. That's what we want. So, Gelabert's going to take the corner. Pete's going to come short. That's what we need. So I think I'm going to need to do that every single match we play, just to make sure that we haven't got 2 players trying to do 2 jobs. Or 1 player doing 2 jobs, sorry. Carniero's got this ball for us. Not really sure what happened with that corner. Goalkeeper came out, flapped at it, didn't get it. Gelabert to Orlando. Carniero to Pete. Barisic is making a run. So is Mossen on the right-hand side, the club captain. Crosses it in low. It's Gelabert. Barisic is there on the head. Gelabert was very unlucky. Barisic claims his 27th goal of the season. 51 minutes played, 2-0 up away from home. I don't know whether this is a good thing to say out loud, but we're going to say it. Things seem to be clicking this season. Gelabert, it's not. It's Carniero's hit the bar with a free kick. Things seem to be clicking. They seem to really do be clicking. Things do be clicking for us. That's terminology, everybody. We're looking good. Pete plays it back to Hindrich. Forward to Lund Jensen, one of the goal scorers. Hjulmand goes for a run. Orlando, ball on the ground towards Barisic, doesn't get anywhere near him. Back with the keeper. Big kick. We need to get there first. Darlan, he's 6'5", still decides to volley it and not just head it back to the keeper. Gelabert can't quite keep hold of the ball. Darlan with I say Darlan, it's actually Lund Jensen. Hjulmand's lost out. What are we doing? We've won this ball back 3 times and we just keep losing the ball once again. Mossen misses the head. It is Topic to Sehovic, crosses it in, and Gordic hits it just wide of Hindrich's post. Still 2-0. Partizan's first real chance, I think. I was just about to do a sub, but instead, we're going to see what happens with this highlight. It is Markovic to Topic. Gordic goes for a run, tries to split the defence. Popovic's effort goes wide once again. Now we'll do our subs. I think we're going to do Hjulmand coming off, even though he's playing well. Fitness is what we're looking at here. We're going to do Scott Garcia. I mean, it's a risk. He's now registered for the league, but Scott Garcia is going to come in as the box-to-box midfielder. Do we do anything else? Orlando's doing all right. Do we do Pelomati for Gercic? I think we do. You probably noticed a whole load of weird names on the subs bench. It's like under 18s. I just needed to fill up the subs bench, and I thought, why not just stick a bunch of 16-year-olds, send them on a plane to Serbia, see how they get on. None of them will probably play. I would quite like a third goal. We've only had 5 shots on target but scored 2 of them, but we've had 21 shots overall. Lund Jensen to Garcia with long hair and a hairband. Not what I was expecting. I think that's the first time I've actually seen him on camera. Darlin to Carniero. Garcia again. He's tiny as well. Barisic to Gercic. Down the line, actually over the top to Barisic. Doesn't win the head. It is Sehevic for Partizan. Stevanovic ball upfield. We need to get this forward, and we do. Darlin to Garcia. Lund Jensen's not paying enough attention. Topic has nicked this. It's being forced out wide. Terzic. Lund Jensen's big enough to get in the way of that, but it's not cleared far enough just yet. The ball is in the back of the net. It is Nikola Terzic with the goal. It is 2-1. Darlin's on a 6.4. I feel like that wasn't necessarily his fault. Lund Jensen seems to lose the ball a lot for us. The full-time whistle goes, it's a 2-1 win. Maybe we should have had a third. But we didn't get the third. We do win it 2-1. I don't know what else is happening in the Europa Conference League. Like, who else is still in there? So it's looking like Hajduk split. It's looking like Real Sociedad, a team that we've already beaten. Hertha Berlin and AZ Alkmaar on very close terms. Finals, Sturm Graz. Newcastle obviously still in it. Basel and Sassuolo. Who are these? They are from Bosnia-Herzegovina. Fair enough. I've never even heard of them. Jumping up to the Europa League to see whether Copenhagen are still there. I don't think they are, unless they got through the Champions League. I think we're the only team representing Denmark left in Europe. Fair play. Okay, fair play to Copenhagen. They got to the knockout rounds and they lost against Bayern. They beat AC Milan. They got through a group of AC Milan, Liverpool. I say they got through a group. It's that thing, isn't it? It's that mess. I mean, where did they finish? I mean, Southampton 11th. I'm happy with that. That's pretty good. 20th place. 3 wins. So who they beat? Milan, Standard and Barcelona. They drew twice. Nice and Atalanta. And then 3 defeats. Liverpool, Marseille and Juve. I mean, they had some tough games. Match number 2 of the episode then. Once again up against Partizan. We have just played a league game against Viborg. And we won 4-0. Barisic scoring a hat-trick. Getting his 30th goal of the season. Pete also getting on the score sheet a goal which won him goal of the month or goal of the week, I'm not quite sure. For some reason, the award is in Danish and I don't speak Danish. For the Partizan game then, it is going to be Selic in goal because Hindrich is injured, annoyingly. So Selic is going to be making his debut, although, is it Selic or Hussein? I'm going to call him Hussein because that's probably what's on his shirt. Mossen, Darlin, Lund Jensen and Pelamati. In defence, Babu, Carniero and Hjulmand in midfield. Babu comes in to that defence midfield position. Pete, Gelabert and Barisic leading the lines. Once again, whole bunch of children on the subs bench. Some of them getting squad numbers today. So the last time we played a 2-legged match in Europe in this save was the Anderlecht match, where we won the first leg. I can't remember how much. It was like 4-2, I think we won the first leg. And then we lost the second leg. And that knocked us out of the Europa League normal, which is why we're in the Europa Conference League. We are 6 minutes on the clock. Partizan's ball upfield. Plays it on the ground. Vlahovic collects it. He's going towards goal. Mossen with a spectacular tackle. As a very loud motorbike goes past my house. Mossen to Pete. I was expecting VAR to call that Mossen tackle back, but it's not. It's carrying on. Carniero with the ball. Invites Mossen forward as well. Number 16. Can he whip the cross? And he does. It's cleared well. We're keeping this alive, though, through Darlin. Number 5. Hjulmand gets some space. Across to Pelamati. Towards Gelabert. Can't find him. There's a goal in this highlight. Lund Jensen to Gelabert. Carniero on the ground to Pete. Plays it all the way back to Darlin. Babul over the top. Pete's in on goal. Pete tucks it in at the near post. It is 1-0. That highlight took a whole minute to play through. And we have taken the lead in the second leg. 3-1 now on aggregate. I was not expecting our European adventure to keep going through to the knockout round. If we go through this, we're in a quarter-final of the Europa Conference League, which is nuts. It's ridiculous. And financially, this is helping us massively as well. And I guess reputation-wise, if we keep going through these European championships, these European competitions and stages and things like that, more and more decent footballers will want to join us. Hopefully meaning Leffer Gordon will want to join us at some point. But right now, still quite happy playing for Sundowns. Lund Jensen to Babu. We've got a highlight going on whilst I'm chatting about a random South African footballer who doesn't play for us. Carniero is going to hopefully get on the end of this, and he does. Crosses it in, hits the first man, gets another chance. Pete collects, curls it, hits the bar, and it is going to be cleared by Partizan. Pete is on fire. Galabert's corner comes in. Darlin's there. Lund Jensen's there as well. I swapped you round because I wanted Darlin to score. Lund Jensen's got his second in these Partizan games, his second in the episode. 4-1. Now that I've got my corners working, I think we're in a very better position when it comes to having these corners and getting defenders on the score sheet. Half time then, 2-0 to the good Lund Jensen and Pete with the goals. We're going to just keep going, just keep having shots, guys. You're doing well, you're playing football. Early highlight in the second half, what is that, 3 minutes on the clock. Lund Jensen to Hjulmand, Babu to Carniero. Not really seen a huge amount, but he's getting a 7 rating at the moment, so he seems to be doing a good job as that Mazala. Popovic in goal for Partizan. Big kick. Get it forward from us, or not, that'll do. Lund Jensen can take his time. The Brazilian Darlin. We had to pay £1.2 million to bring Darlin in. He had a minimum fee release of like 1.6, but they weren't. They were happy to take less. Hjulmand, ball over the top. Barisic is there on the volley, half volley. I'm not quite sure what that one was. He's 3-0. Barisic gets his 31st goal of the season. And we're going through to the quarterfinals of the Europa Conference League. I'm looking at fitness, and fitness isn't a problem either. Lund Jensen is the only one really struggling. Pelamati and Mossen starting to get there. So we will do a couple of changes. Lund Jensen off. We are going to do Luptak coming on. Do we also do Mossen? Do we just do loads of defenders again? Samuel Larson can come on. Pelamati for Gercic. This is probably a bad thing to do, but we're going for it. Final 20 minutes. 5-1 to the good on aggregate. 3-0 on the night. Our XG for this match is 0.89 and we've scored 3 goals. Our XG for the last match was, 2.5? And we scored twice. Well, literally no more highlights after those subs. That third goal from Barisic, and then that just killed the game dead. Nobody really cared. There was no shots for a good, 30 minutes for either side in that? That's ridiculous. So with that victory then, we go into the hat for the quarterfinals of the Europa Conference League alongside Basel, Hajduk, Hertha Berlin, Newcastle, Real Sociedad, Sassuolo and Sturm Graz. Absolutely everybody who played at home in the second leg has made it through to the next round. Sturm Graz arguably the biggest upset there, but I imagine they're still a pretty good side. And the draw will take place on the 22nd, so we will find out in this episode who we are going to be playing, because we're going to go forward to the 23rd to play Copenhagen in this episode as well. It's the day before our match against Copenhagen, which is going to be a big one because there is still only 1 point separating us in the league table at the moment. And I fear that we're going to lose our first game of the season at the end of the preliminary phase. But obviously you can see in front of us our youth intake. And apparently it's a golden generation. I'm not going to go through every single player here because obviously some of them are probably going to be pretty good, but some of them are probably going to be rubbish. But there is one player, Jan Lundsgaard, who they say is a diamond in a very strong group. And they're right, he's 15, and I'd probably play him now. Maybe we will. We probably won't. Maybe do. Can we? Can we play him against Copenhagen? Probably shouldn't. Despite the fact that this is a golden generation, we also have Martin Olsen, who is just awful. Just awful at everything. He's very brave, bless him. So in the lead up to this final preliminary phase game, we have beaten Lyngby 2-0 in the league. We've drawn 2-2 against Randers in the quarterfinal of the Cup, but we do obviously have a second leg for that. Just so you're aware, there is no Copenhagen left in the Cup, which means if we can get ourselves to the final, we will be in a very, very good position to be able to actually win it. It looks like OB and Silkeborg are through. Hopefully that'll be us. Nordsjælland and AGF as well, potentially going through. So I think we've got a very good chance. Those aren't the big sides. None of those are really the strong teams. Randers is probably the toughest team left in that competition, and we did just draw with them. Oh, and this just randomly happened. We didn't have any ceremony or anything. We've drawn Hertha Berlin. So, what do we think is going to be like? Do they think that we're better than them? I imagine, putting it out there, I think Hertha Berlin are a better side than we are. I'm guessing we do play them twice. Yes, we do. Soltney 10th and 17th of April. So that's obviously going to be the next episode. But first, let's see what happens against Copenhagen. The starting lineup then is as strong as we can really do. Bar our goalkeeper. Hindrich is still slightly injured and it's a hamstring problem. So I don't really want to play him. So Hussein will keep his place in goal. Mossen, Darlan, Lund Jensen and Pelamati in defence. Orlando, Carniero and Babu in midfield. Pete, Gelabert on the wings, Barisic leading the line. We still don't quite have Colorado back either, which is frustrating because I was hoping he'd be back by now. But he's back very soon, which means we're going to have him back for every single game for the championship group phase. I think that's what it's called. I should know. We've been in this league for like 6 years. Quickly fix my corners because they're broken. So this is the big one then. This really shows us how far we've potentially come this season. If we can pick up 3 points against Copenhagen, that's going to be massive. I can't remember what the result was previously, but we didn't lose it. We know that much because we've lost absolutely nothing so far in the league this season. 3 minutes on the clock. Martinez, I think that was, heads over the bar for Copenhagen. 13 minutes now. Copenhagen coming forward. Rooney with it down that left-hand side into a bit of space. Only one option in the middle. Christensen collects it. Is he going to cross? Stops instead. Plays it back. Crosses in now. Johansson's there. Hussein manages to get hit in the back of the head, I think. It's not cleared just yet. Pete can get that ball into the dugout. That ends the highlights. So far, Copenhagen looking like the better side, but not necessarily having good chances. Rooney with a free kick in a good position. Back post is Daniel Fomin, who scored against us last time around, I'm pretty sure. And Copenhagen take the lead. And that means we will drop down to second place. Still plenty of time, but looking at the match stats, we're not getting our shots away. And if we are, they're not very good. They're not on target. Half an hour played. There you see confirmation that we do drop down to second place. Still only 2 points in it. We've got ourselves a corner. Pete takes it. Lund Jensen's there at the front post. He heads over the bar. That was the chance. That's where we're going to get our goal from. If it's going to be anything, it's going to be a corner. Mossen with a throw down the line to Barisic. Stops, plays to Pete. Tries to get a little bit of space. Cuts inside. Orlando. Ball over the top is Gelabert. Doesn't find him. Barisic is there. Picks up the pieces as well from Grabara. It is 1-1. His 35th goal of the season for Bartol Barisic. Considering we've still got 10 more league games to play after this, he's got 36 goals in all competitions, or 35 goals in all competitions. Plus, we've got at least 2 more Europa League games. We've got at least 1 more League Cup game, sorry. I mean, he's ridiculous this season. Absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, no subs for us at half-time. Just jumping straight into the second half. Darlan's on a 6-3. I spent a lot of money on you, mate, and so far, you've not been very good. Christensen tries to get some space. What a slide that was. Pelamati collects it. Lund Jensen to Babiu. Pelamati down the line to Gelabert. Babiu again, Barisic in the middle, Babiu again, Gelabert forward, Carniero can't flick the head on, Darlan controls it well for us. Orlando, not so much though. Rooney goes off to the left-hand side, gets some space, and Hussein with a good save. Corner for Copenhagen. Rooney is the man to take it, because he always is, towards Martinez at the back, and the big 6'5" Darlan gets it clear, but the chance is still going, and Borges heads over the bar. If it stays this way, we stay top of the table. If it stays like this, if we win, we obviously go top of the table and we'll be 4 points clear of Copenhagen with just 10 games to play. It is Fonseca with it for Copenhagen though. Fomin to Fonseca. Brun Larsen is going to get there first. On the ground to Rooney, tucks that ball away and it's 2-1. I don't know what to do against Copenhagen. Every time we play them, it's a different beast. Whenever we play anyone else in the league, we know we're the better side. When we play Copenhagen, we know they're the better side. And I don't know what we can do about it. We're going to do a whole load of changes here, I think. Darlan. Awful game for Darlan. I can't believe I've just done that. Denson Barnabas, I've accidentally put on the bench. And now I've brought him on. I mean, he's getting better. His finishing, I'm pretty sure was on 4 when we signed him. It's now on 6. But, you know, he's playing a game against Copenhagen. If we see something special from Barnabas, I'm a genius. Because it's certainly not him, because he's useless. Final 20 minutes so far, the subs have made absolutely no difference, have they? Lund Jensen, Pelamati, we've also got Orlando struggling, Babiu struggling as well. Lund Jensen gets it. Pelamati with it. Plays it back to Lund Jensen now, Orlando Meyer. Lund Jensen across, Junior and Duca the sub. Right hand side is Larsen, Orlando gets it. Carniero to Barisic. It's towards Barnabas. He was never going to get there, was he? He was never going to get anywhere near it, the Micronesian. Brun Larsen's collected for Copenhagen. Borges off to that left-hand side, tries to slot it under Hussein, can't manage it. I don't really think that was a highlight, but okay, there we are. Free kick in a good place for Rooney to take. Oh, that's going in the top left, top bins. Hussein stops it, saves that one as well. Junior and Duca gets it clear further. We have dodged a bit of a bullet with that one. Is it carrying on though? Christensen plays it back. It's not carrying on. It's 2-1. It's still going to be a defeat unless something magical happens in the next few seconds. And I'm looking at you, Barnabas. Rooney with a free kick. Clear it. It's gone over the bar. I thought that nestled in the back of the net. Orlando to Nduka. We've got 1 minute of injury time. Barisic doesn't win the head. Christensen plays it back to Fonseca. Martinez, Daniel Fomin, Ayari. Ball forward to Foman. Once again, Borges on the ground to Rooney. He was offside. If he wasn't offside, we are terrible at football. Good, he was offside. 15 seconds. And Duka, just big lump upfield, mate. Just that's all we got to do. There were 3 players there. That's not a big lump upfield. Babiu to Lund Jensen. Markovic ball over the top. Barisic controls it. The full-time whistle goes. Referee, what are they paying you? Well, the final result then is a 2-1 defeat. Our first defeat in the league all season. And it comes in the final game of the preliminary phase. I'm going to say unlucky, and then I'm going to say specifically to you two, you were rubbish. You let yourself down out there. 6-1 and a 6-2. Well, that's even more frustrating. I think we've lost, like, I don't know, a few £100,000 there for that defeat as well. Because if we were still top, that would have been more money. But we picked up 1.45 million. We know who we're going to be playing in the final 10 matches. And that is AAB, AGF, Brøndby, Copenhagen and Randers, which I think is pretty much the same ones that we always seem to get. Well, that is going to do it for this episode, and frustratingly, we do drop down to second place in the table. Next time around, we're still not really focusing on what's going on in the league. However, we kind of have to do that, don't we? Hertha Berlin twice, Copenhagen in the middle of it. That's going to make or break our season, because if we lose against Copenhagen, we could potentially be, how many points behind them? We could potentially be, what is that? That's already 2 points. We could be 5 points behind them. That's not good. We need somebody else to ideally beat Copenhagen. It's not going to happen, is it?